resource coordinator for the SALT Talks. We are hosted from several counties. So we have Darke County, Montgomery, Greene, Warren, and Butler. All county board of DDs. They assist us with the SALT Talks and helping it get out there for everyone. Tonight's session, we are going to be talking to two groups. I'm going to give you the abbreviation form, and then you'll learn about what it actually stands for. But we have Ann Tapia from RAAC. It's RAAC. And we have Jen Bavery. Is that how you say your last name,
Yep,
Bavery?
Yep, perfect.
From OCALI. I have found these two groups are so helpful with resources and information. It's just this information they share, their websites, everything has been very helpful for many parents and for me to tap into and check out the events and everything that's going on. So I thought it was important to get some of the parents and whoever can attend tonight just connected with these two. So I'm going to go ahead and close the poll. For those who are just jumping on, we had a poll going on. I'm going to close it here so we can get an idea of who's in the audience tonight. If you didn't get the chance to take the poll, that's okay. So that have never attended anything. So great. I want to welcome you all tonight again. And let me stop sharing these results. But tonight we're going to hear from both of those. So this will give you guys a chance to get very familiar with these two groups. Ask your questions. You can ask them in the chat box if you don't, as they're presenting. But you guys can address, either the presenters can address it as you go. If you want to address the questions during this presentation or at the end, that's fine. But feel free to type your questions in that chat box. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our presenters. So I believe Ann's going to go first with RAAC. And I'm just going to go ahead and let you go. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us tonight, Patty. Jen is going to pull up our presentation, which in just a moment, I'm going to drop the link so you all have access to this as well. So you can click on the links that are embedded in here. We have lots of good stuff we're going to share with you tonight. But we wanted to at least begin by introducing ourselves. So my name is Ann Tapia. I'm the coordinator for the Regional Autism Advisory Council of Southwest Ohio, also called RAAC, as you heard Patty say. And I'll tell you more about what that is, but a little bit about me first. My background, I'm a social worker, licensed in Ohio, and have worked previously in the mental health field, but had always had kind of a niche for supporting those who are co-occurring mental health and developmental disabilities. And so about 5 years ago, actually 5 years ago this week, I just realized, celebrating my anniversary this week in my role, I switched over to this role as Regional Autism Advisory Council Coordinator, and I absolutely love it. And I will tell you more about why that is so, but it's a ton of fun to be in this position.
And I'm Jen Bavery. I am the program director for the Family and Community Outreach Center at OCALI. And like Ann, I'm excited to be here too. I really enjoy these opportunities to share our resources, but also just to learn from all of you and find out more about what's going on with you and how OCALI can support you and what resources that we have that maybe you can walk away tonight and be able to utilize. I've been with OCALI for just about 6 years now. I started with the organization with a project, and I'm going to be sharing a little bit more about that project, which launched a great resource for families regarding supporting individuals with autism. But it is also a tool that we have found works with learners, all learners. So I'm really excited to be able to share that with you. I am also the parent of a 21-year-old with autism. So we have been on this journey for many, many years and have just learned a lot through everything we've done and helping to support my son. So again, I really enjoy these times, these opportunities to connect with everyone. So. All right, Ann, I think I'm turning it back over to you. Oh, actually, real quick. Yeah, Ann, I think you're up next.
So our plan for tonight, we're going to kind of go back and forth between introducing RAAC and what it means to be involved in RAAC activities and what resources exist, as well as OCALI resources for families. But we'll have some time at the end for specific questions, but we'd love for you to pepper those questions throughout the presentation and we'll address them as they come in. So please don't feel like you have to wait until the end, ask your questions as they come in. All right, so I love that Patty started us off with a poll because we have this link that we want to share with you all as well. So this is what's called a Linowit board, and we want to find out a little bit more. So Patty asked you all if you have engaged in anything related to RAAC or OCALI, and we would love for you to tell us what you have engaged in with us. So if you would share if you're involved in trainings, if you've participated in trainings with either organization. And the way that this works, you'll just click on the link and it'll pop up this window that looks like a Post-it note board. So on the top right-hand corner, I'm moving my mouse like I can do it.
Actually, so Anne, I am sharing the screen right now for the board. So if you kind of help.
Thank you. I saw that and I'm like trying to control, like I don't have any control over it. So if you click on the right-hand corner, you can click on any color Post-it note that you want, and that'll open up a window for you where you can answer your question, answer the question with your answer. And then we'll have the ability to see everybody's answers on there as you all post them live. So if you don't mind taking a moment to share with us, if you're familiar with RAAC or OCALI, how have you engaged with either organization and what resources have you used? And that'll just kind of give us a sense of what areas we want to make sure we target if you haven't heard of what we have to offer. And while you all are doing that, we'll move forward and we'll check back. So you have a chance to do that. So we'll start off by telling you a bit about RAAC. There you go, yeah, okay. So the Regional Autism Advisory Council is focused on Southwest Ohio, Butler, Claremont, Hamilton, and Warren counties are the areas that I intentionally serve. However, anybody is welcome. So if in this you don't hear your county, but you really want to get involved, you are welcome to be involved. The idea is really that the more we have at the table, the more diversity that is there and represented, the better and richer the conversation is. The only caveat to that is sometimes we may get into some nuanced conversations that are specific to a county that maybe may not apply in the same way in the place that you live. So in each of those 4 counties, I facilitate a task force meeting where we bring together people across the lifespan. And we may focus on autism, speak from an autism lens. However, a lot of what we talk about applies across the greater disability community. And so we welcome all disability groups to be participating. The other areas which are more regionally focused, we have an early intervention task force that thinks about 0 to 5 and that early transition time frame, thinking about what supports and services are there. We have a transition age, which is thinking about young adults who are 14 to 26, 22, really from when you graduate high school, kind of depends on what system you're in and how long you're considered a young adult within the school setting or within other various service providers. And then we have adult services, which are really thinking about adults who are out of high school. And in each of these, we're really trying to consider what resources and supports exist in the community, how we can resource those out with each other, with everybody who is at the table. And we identify gaps and we try to figure out what's missing and what we can do collectively as stakeholders to enhance the supports and services that exist for people. There's always some conversation around policy. So we try to think about from a state and federal level, what does that mean for us locally? And even in local issues that come up as well. How are we managing that? And so as the pandemic unraveled, it was a great place for people to come together and ask each other questions. And a lot of programs and organizations were working through with each other how to problem solve, how to make sure that people's needs were being met on a consistent basis, because it's really focused on that networking with one another. So I say all of this to say we do take kind of a professional lens in terms of we're intending to try to make those supports and services that exist the best possible. However, we can't, as professionals, we can't define what best means without stakeholders who have lived experience at the table. So we love when caregivers, adults and young adults who are willing to join us in those conversations, who have that lived experience themselves, can join us at that table and really help to inform what supports and services look like. So we really mean all are welcome to the table. A couple other groups that we have that are kind of across the region and across the age range. We have a safety committee, which is really trying to take a proactive approach to safety. Unfortunately, a lot of our safety systems that exist are reactive. After something has happened, there's a major unusual incident, and then we can put supports and services to be responsive to what has happened for the person. And we want to take that, we want to do better, right? We want to think about what ways can we support people before something happens to keep them protected and safe, and involved in their community in ways that are fully integrated in a safe way. So that group thinks in a lot of different aspects, but often we talk about prevention of abuse, neglect, and societal things that come up, like engagement with first responders, how we can help them to better understand people with disabilities, and several initiatives that have come along the way that we try to think about what exists in our community and how we can enhance those efforts. Another group is our work group to support Black and Brown families. So recognizing that unfortunately families, Black and Brown families are disproportionately being served and often find they don't have equal access to supports and services. So again, collectively, how do we think about the supports and services that are offered to truly make them welcoming and inviting for all? And identifying where there may be biases and how we can address those in ways that are culturally responsive and support the entire community. So in terms of who comes to the table, we have school district representatives, county boards of developmental disability services, private programs, rec programs, university level. So and being where we are, UC, Xavier, Mount St. Joe's, we have lots of active participants at that higher ed level as well. We have Autism Society of Greater Cincinnati, our educational service centers, mental health organizations, and then, as I mentioned, family members and adults with disabilities themselves who participate. So all are welcome to join in that. In a couple slides, I'll share the link to the website. The best way to get engaged is to fill out a form on the website and tell me where you see yourself. Where do you want to get plugged in and network with others and learn more about resources that exist in these various areas. And if you reach out in that way, I will share all the details. Our meetings, we transitioned into the pandemic easily because I have always offered a virtual option for people and will always continue to offer a virtual option for people even when it's safe to meet virtually. But we have a link to join these. Most of them meet on a monthly basis. Some have a little bit different rotation, but I will share all those logistics with you if you're interested. Another big piece, you can go ahead and move to the next one, Jen, is training. So, oh, nope, I'm sorry, I'm pausing. It's Jen's turn.
Oh, that's absolutely okay. I mean, I feel we can jump right to all the great stuff you're sharing. We can do the in between. Okay, so let me share a little bit about OCALI with you, and then, as Anne said, we'll kind of jump into some more resources so you can walk away tonight with some things to grasp and to use. So OCALI, or the Ohio Center for Autism and Low Incidence, was established to administer programs for individuals with autism and low incidence disabilities across the lifespan. And our vision, as it shows on the slide, why we do what we do is, we really want to make sure people with disabilities have the opportunity to live their best lives. We do this through inspiring change and promoting access to those opportunities we're talking about. And we do this through 3 core functions. The first, similar to what Anne had shared as far as some of the RAAC goals, is we inform public policy. We want to make sure that we are getting information, research, the latest evidence-based strategies in front of folks so that they are aware of what's working, and they are then able to make decisions, to have decisions that really are impacting families and help support families in the state of Ohio. Our second core function is that we deploy best practices. So we are looking at developing different tools and different resources to support professionals, families, individuals, again, across the lifespan. And the third area is that we consult and collaborate. So very much like, tonight with Anne, we work closely with RAAC, we work closely with state agencies, we work closely with school districts, family networks. We really want to make sure that we're staying connected to those folks who are serving, living with, employing individuals with disabilities. And OCALI's work is, it's supported through all of our centers at OCALI, and we have our centers kind of organized in a way to make sure that we are focusing efforts in specific areas to meet the needs of individuals across the lifespan. So starting with our Autism Center, our Autism Center really focuses on building the capacity of school districts and other education agencies to improve their instruction in support of individuals with autism. Our Center for the Young Child, which has been with OCALI just for a few years now, focuses on just that, the young child, and being able to provide resources for professionals to support them as they're working with families and they're working with young children. Our Family and Community Outreach Center, which is the center that I help support, really our goal with that center is to make sure families are informed, that they have access to resources, that they know where they can go if they need information. We also, another big goal of the center is to actually collaborate across all our different centers to make sure families are represented throughout OCALI. Our Lifespan Transition Center focuses on individuals who are in that transition phase to make sure they're bringing together different agencies and bringing together different resources to really help support that age group as they're transitioning, as they're moving from school to post-secondary. Our Teaching Diverse Learner Center and the Universal Design for Learning Center really focus on all learners. I mean, they're looking at the low incidence disability learners. They're looking at how things are designed in the classroom to make sure that these are meaningful experiences for all students. And then our Outreach Center for Deafness and Blindness focuses on providing resources, again, for professionals who are supporting families and individuals who are blind, visually impaired, deaf, or hard of hearing. That center is actually very new to OCALI, along with the Assistive Technology and Accessible Education Materials Center. We are excited to have them at OCALI. They've been with us for just a few years now, but they're both providing great resources through again, supporting individuals with, having more accessible materials. Our Assistive Technology and Accessible Education Materials Center focuses on, again, creating better access through materials such as Braille, assistive technology, communication devices. So a lot of great resources coming out of both of those centers. And then our Asd Strategies in Action, which is a tool that comes out of our Autism Certification Center, is one that I'll share a little bit more with you guys about in a bit, because that's one that I'm always really excited to be able to present to folks. That is a center that launched in 2015, again, focused on this training, Asd Strategies in Action, which has some video-based strategies for folks to kind of see action, see strategies happening in action. And OCALI is also supported by 3 additional areas. One is our Office of Policy. And again, it kind of comes back to the idea of helping to inform policy, that we want to make sure that we're at the table. We want to make sure that we are sharing information with, again, those folks that are making the decisions to really help support individuals and families across the state. And then I think I saw in the Post-it notes that some folks have attended our conference, which is great. So OCALICon is we're in our 15th year, hard to believe, but it is a national conference. We bring together people from all over the world to network, to learn about the latest research, to share stories, to connect with each other, learn about evidence-based strategies. We've always held the event in Columbus, downtown, and last year we did, like everybody else, had to shift to online, and our conference team, I think they did an outstanding job trying to make it as easy and as smooth as possible for people to get to sessions. We were able to also offer things on demand, which I know we received a lot of great feedback on that, because when we had it in person, you may have missed a session because you wanted to get to another session. And so this way, if you weren't able to actually attend all the sessions, you could go back and look at them after the conference. We are planning on holding it online again this year, and it will be November 17th through 19th. So I know that we are looking to open up registration. Usually opens up in the spring, and we always have a family rate. So I do want to make sure people are aware of that. And then last is our lending library. And so one of the great things at OCALI is that we are a clearinghouse of information. I mean, that's kind of our goal, is to make sure that we are getting resources out to, again, professionals, teachers, state agencies, families, individuals, in a variety of formats. So we have a lot of online resources, and I also saw in the Post-it notes, and some people have accessed our internet modules, which is great. So we have a lot of online resources. We also have resources that you can check out from our library. So books and DVDs and equipment and different sensory kits and different types of kits. And they're free. It's a free, it's basically, they're shipped to you. So you just need to sign up like you would with any library. You check out the books that the books are the resources that you're looking for. They are shipped to you with actually a tag to ship them right back to us. So this is a free resource for folks in Ohio. And we are currently doing contactless delivery. So we don't actually have the library open for people to come in and visit, but you can view all the resources online and access them that way. So, a quick overview of OCALI. I know I could spend hours talking about OCALI, but I think I only had 10 minutes. All right, and I think it's back. I think we're going to do a poll again.
Yeah, so thank you all for popping your Post-its on the previous Linowit. We have another one. This is actually the same link. So if you still have that window open, you'll just want to use your mouse to move the board, and you'll see there's another yellow Post-it note toward the middle of the screen, kind of middle right. And we're asking in this one, what resources do you need to support your loved one? Because there are such a wide variety of resources that both OCALI and RAAC share, we want to make sure that we talk about the ones that matter most to you. So again, grab a Post-it note and pop it in there so that we can make sure that we address those. And I just wanted to make mention, I organized the previous Post-it notes by color around how people answered. So that was kind of fun to see those who have in some capacity engaged with RAAC or OCALI or both. So thank you for that. All right, so if you will pop your Post-it notes around what resources do you need to support your loved one? And while you're doing that, I will keep us moving forward. So a bit more about RAAC. As we identify gaps in the community, a lot of times an easy answer, and I'm saying easy in quotation marks, but one natural place to go to help fill gaps are training opportunities. And so RAAC hosts a number of trainings throughout the year. We have continued to do that virtually during the pandemic. We are definitely looking forward to being able to host those live again, but we were talking earlier today about how we might be able to have a hybrid version as we move forward, and thinking about, ways to be accessible to folks, from wherever people are coming from. So I want to just point out a couple training opportunities that are current right now. We have a session coming up on April 14th that is called Severe Behavior, Collaborative Problem Solving for Students with Developmental Disabilities. This is in partnership with Miami University's Department of Educational Psychology, and also open to the RAAC community and all those affiliated in any way. So that includes you, because you hear about us now. And that session will be facilitated. Our speaker is Dr. Renee Sorensen, who is out of Cincinnati Children's Hospital, and she runs the Severe Intensive Behavior Treatment Clinic at Cincinnati Children's. And so this intention is really to be more than a behavior 101. We want to take what we know about severe behavior and really think intentionally about interventions and how teams can collaborate very intentionally to support people with severe behavior. So we'd love to have you join us for those. I also have on there a link for the recorded sessions that we've hosted so far this year that are available. We had a session, if you all have not heard of Kim Clary before, she is absolutely wonderful. She's an occupational therapist who also has autism and is just incredibly insightful and brings such a wealth of knowledge, both professionally and personally, to the presentations that she provides. And so she had shared with us, it was actually in December of 2020, but still available in 2021. She had shared what I wish I knew when I was young, and really thinking about, how to be supporting people in intentional ways. And a lot of it dipped into some of the sensory needs there. So a great session. We also talked quite a bit about holidays as it was approaching the holidays there. The other piece that's still available from recorded sessions are remote learning strategies for success. So there's two versions of this. One is focused on professionals providing remote learning supports, and the other for families who are thinking about what the home environment looks like. I can't wait until that one is not relevant, right? But it's still there for those who are looking to enhance that remote learning if you're still engaged in that. The other piece that I have on here is safety training. So I've mentioned we have that safety initiative committee that is really thinking, from a stakeholder perspective, how we can share resources and be involved in being proactive. One of those initiatives is first responder training, and we welcome our community members to have conversations with their local departments. There's a flyer that is available and linked to the website, which you can print off or just share that link with your local department and encourage them to have us train them. And if it's not us, then we'll get them linked with someone who can in the area. We just firmly believe that the more that we are talking with first responders and providing them information, the safer everybody is. And so we want to spread that work as far and wide as we possibly can, and would love to work with your local departments. Another piece, which is kind of the next step up, we have been certified to use Be Safe the Movie, which is a video modeling method of training young adults with disabilities how to safely engage with people, with first responders. And so the beauty of this, it's a video modeling, and so there are snippets that kind of do some teaching. But the beauty of this day is that they're paired with one of the first responders that we've trained. And so the young adult has a chance to meet a first responder, kind of demystify what the role is. They come in full uniform. And so we talk about, what their uniform means, and all the, when we train our first responders, we always tell them they're very bedazzled. They have all these cool, shiny things that they wear, right? That's very attractive to people who especially, have visual sensory seeking. And so we give those young adults the chance to understand what all of that really cool stuff is on a first responder's uniform. And at the same time, that first responder is getting to know someone in a very real way, what it looks like to have a developmental disability as a young adult. And that learning just really gets driven home much deeper than anything that we can say, to them in a more didactic lecture kind of style. It's a super fun day, very engaging. And I'm super excited that we have a grant that will allow us to keep doing that moving forward. And in that grant, we built in all kinds of safety precautions so that we can hold these safely outside if we need to, all the PPE, all the fun stuff of thinking about how we roll this out in today's world. So, and then the other piece, so look for that. I don't have any dates yet, but we will be in the works of planning when we can start to recruit people to participate in those. The other piece is that we're more than happy to work with organizations individually as well. So we've worked with schools, sometimes, whole school systems, other times a particular department within a school, and we can tailor the supports and information to the population. And sometimes we've worked like women, infant, and children, found that they had an increase in the number of people they were serving with autism and wanted some information. So, whomever is looking for additional information, we are happy to provide that individualized support and training as well. The other piece I wanted to share with you all, and here's the link to the RAAC website. There are some common themes that I hear in transition in terms of resources that people are seeking. And like a good social worker, I just gather lists of things. So I have shared many of these lists of resources on the RAAC website for those that are just, commonly brought up on a reoccurring basis. And so that's available for anybody who's looking for it. The first one that's listed there, a resource for adolescents and adults who are newly diagnosed, is actually coming from the Indiana Resource Center for Autism. They developed this beautiful booklet. There's two versions of it. One is for younger age range, but there's this other version that's for adults, young adults and adults. And they, with permission, allowed us to take the resources that are in there and make them for Ohio. And so we've included, rather than the Indiana Bureau of Vocational Rehabilitation, it includes information about opportunities for Ohioans with disabilities. And so it's relevant to us in our state of Ohio. It's really good information. So the next one that's listed on there is healthy relationships and sexuality. So in 2019, which I cannot recall time right now, feels like forever ago, we hosted a 3-day conference that was focused on healthy relationships and sexuality. Again, focused on autism, but we had so many folks from beyond the autism spectrum who joined us in that. And really the hope was to be thinking about how we can better support people with relationships and sexuality issues. So from that, we developed huge lists of resources. It was interesting because we initially thought we had some major gaps in our community that we weren't focusing on this. And as we began to plan the conference, we found we needed 3 days to really cover everything. So you'll see the book list that was created there. It has both books, articles, and then also some online resources that are available for lots of different versions. There are some that are focused on the person with the disability, others that are focused on the caregiver. So kind of just depends on what you're looking for in terms of the resource. So that resource is also linked on there. And then the third one that I have listed here are counselors and therapists for co-occurring mental health and intellectual and developmental disabilities. Now, this list I do have to caution is focused on Southwest Ohio, just by nature of where my region is. However, a lot of these folks are now doing teletherapy. So, location may not be the barrier that it previously was. And there are several providers who their intention is to always maintain teletherapy. And so location may not necessarily ever be an issue in terms of seeking those resources and supports. So, all right. Lots of links on here again. So you have access. Thank you again for posting that, Michelle. You'll have access to these live links on here. Please feel free to reach out to me, especially if you're interested in getting involved in any of these. Our Facebook is linked on there. The other piece, I know that Patty shares this with you, but because of my role in resourcing with lots of different providers in the area and professionals in the area, I have a huge distribution list that people will ask me to share things out that RAAC is not necessarily involved in. So I'm happy to add you to that list, but you're also welcome to just go directly to where I drop all those flyers. So where it says flyers and it's a bit.ly link there, I know Patty has that on the Live Binders link as well. That's where all of the local community things in Southwest Ohio are happening. Again, many of those virtual, so you can get plugged into tons of opportunities there. And then just the RAAC website, the general information that's on there. Go ahead, Jen.
Yeah, say lots of great stuff coming out of your organization. It's always, I'm really glad that Anne and I have been able to connect. I know she's worked very closely with some of my colleagues at OCALI. So I've learned a lot just in our conversations and preparing for tonight. So I just wanted to take a few minutes to highlight a couple resources from some of our centers and a couple of our OCALI-wide projects so that you can know about these things. And I've included links so that way you can access them right away when you have an opportunity to go back and look at the slides. But to start off, I just want to share a little bit more about the Family and Community Outreach Center. Again, this is a center that I help support. As I mentioned before, we really want to make sure that families are staying connected to information and resources to support them in the moment, with whatever it is that's going on with them. That might be, what are the state agencies I need to be able to connect with? What's a great resource to help me? I just received a diagnosis of autism, or we also have a video series of workshops that we held last year before the pandemic that focused on some of the transition things that folks are thinking about right now, including stable accounts and trust, special needs trust. What does transition look like? We had folks from the Opportunities for Ohio's with Disabilities and Ohio Department of Education and a county board represented there to be able to share, what does that look like? So we try to make sure that we're offering a variety of resources through the Family Center to support, again, across that lifespan and really make sure that families can stay connected. One of the newer parts to this center, which it's not really a newer part, OCALI has always had a focus on community outreach, but it really became a bigger part of this center just a couple of years ago, in which we really are trying to reach out to make sure that we are raising this awareness and acceptance in the community. And a couple opportunities that we've had over the last couple of years that have helped us do this, we connected with a theater in Delaware, Ohio, Strand Theater. And what we were able to do is provide a training for all of their staff using our Asd Strategies in action to really help them make the experience for families that are coming in there with children with disabilities a better and meaningful experience for them. And it didn't need to be just a sensory friendly morning or something like that. It could be that, but it also went beyond that. So we were able to actually train staff so that they could understand, common characteristics of autism, some simple strategies really to help support any child, whether that's sensory related or managing emotions or just having visuals around. So it was a really great experience to be able to work with that theater. We also have worked closely with Ohio State University's hospitality management program. And so these are students that are going into the restaurant field or they're going into hotel industry, anything related to hospitality. And again, we've used a lot of our resources from OCALI with them to help prepare them for some of the things that they may experience when they're out in the world, or they're in a hotel and they're serving a family who has a child with a disability, or they're in a restaurant and they have a family who's come in with a child with autism, just to have a better understanding of what's going on in that family and how they can make this experience very meaningful for them and relaxed. So we, for the last couple of years, and last year, unfortunately, we were not able to hold it. The students in the hospitality management program hold an event. It's called Hospitality Listens. They bring together families and kind of give them this dining experience so that they can come and have a night out with their family, great food, great activities, but it's a learning opportunity for the students because they can actually interact with the families. They're planning the event, so they're getting feedback from the families prior to the event. And it's been a really great experience to be able to work with these students and really help them grow as they are, entering the industry and, becoming these future leaders of this industry. Another wonderful thing we were able to do a couple of years ago was partner with the Ohio State Fair to offer a sensory friendly morning. And I mean, it was just a fabulous time. It really was. We were able to work with, again, the fair. We were able to train staff. We were able to provide them with information. We were able to set up different things on the fairgrounds to really help families, and individuals coming there have a wonderful experience, because many families we found have never been to the fair because, again, it's so loud, there's so much activity. And so having a couple hours where the sound is down, the lights are down, there's a sensory room, there's also a space that's been set aside in this great park for just, activities, calming activities. It was a really, really wonderful, wonderful time that morning. And from that, then we were actually able to share information with the Ohio Fair Managers Conference. So we were trying to get information to some of the local fairs on some of the same things we learned to help support them. We are hoping, I know last year everything kind of was just shut down and we weren't able to do it. And I'm sure everyone's kind of tired of hearing that, but we're hoping that, we're hearing word now that things are starting to reopen. So we're optimistic, and we're hoping that, these things can start coming back and we can continue to grow in this area of, just kind of opening up more opportunities for families and individuals to just be in their neighborhood and be in their community, and without having to prepare too much, they can just go. And then the final thing with the Family and Community Outreach Center, and I've kind of mentioned this at the beginning, again, families are represented all across OCALI in all of our centers. And so there's a lot of collaboration that's happening among our centers to make sure that the resources that we're preparing, whether they're supporting a professional or, a provider, they're also something there for families. So it's really important that families are represented across all of the work that we do at OCALI. And then our Autism Center, I wanted to just quickly share two resources that I really just love making sure people know about. One is that they have an amazing resource gallery, and the resources, again, although they're coming out of the Autism Center, a lot of these resources can be used with all learners. There's resources such as how to use a weight card. There's resources related to helping with calming activities such as breathing cards. They developed a bunch of social narratives, especially with COVID, and they continue to add to them just to help with change. And what does that look like? The resource gallery has information that, to help with behaviors. There's some different guides as far as the 5-point scale. There's different guides related to just different resources you can take, visuals, that kind of stuff. So and they keep adding. So there's a lot more coming with that resource, but definitely one to check out. Each of the items that are listed, they provide kind of an introduction to them. They give you examples so you can download things. And then they also reference, again, a lot of books and materials that are coming out of our lending library if you want to learn more. So again, a great resource to check out. The other thing is that the Autism Center for the last 6 years has been hosting this Asd Tip of the Month. And each year it's varied as far as the theme. They've done stuff on self-care. They've done stuff on social emotional. They've done stuff on communication. Well, this year they have decided to go back and kind of do a review of the past 6 years. And so this is a great time to kind of be able to listen in and check out what are all the things that they've been sharing over the last couple of years, because they're highlighting them. And so all of the previous tips of the month are archived. So if you happen to sign up and you get to see this one, you're like, oh, they're talking about social emotional. This is something that they did 3 years ago. You can go back and look at everything they shared 3 years ago because they're highlighting it. So I've always found that one to be a great resource because, again, it's connecting you to an idea. It's connecting you to a tip, something you can walk away and try, but it's also, again, connecting you to other resources that you can explore. And this might be, again, through our lending library or some of our online tools, just so you feel really supported in that area. And then our Lifespan Transition Center, they're doing a lot of great work. They have so many things coming out of that center that it's a website that I just always recommend that people check out. So we have OCALI.org as our main website, and we have different boxes. And if I have time at the end here, I'll show you how to navigate our site for each of our different centers. So you can go in and see what resources have been prepared by that particular center. But the Lifespan Transition Center has a variety of things. Again, they're really trying to make sure that they are offering resources for a wide audience. And 3 resources I wanted to highlight tonight is, first of all, their Take 5 webinars. These are short videos that provide, again, a variety of resources and topics to support individuals during that transition years. There are videos with experts, there's videos with individuals, there's videos with just learning how to use different tools. Some of the topics include self-care, some Disability 101, learning about benefits. There's stuff just related to transition in general. There's several on just assistive technology and how to access tools that help you be more independent. You know, a lot of things on Google, because Google offers a lot of great resources that I think are easy to access. So, but again, short videos, which is great because, you know, if you only have 5 to 10 minutes, that's exactly what you want to be able to do, is go to a short video and walk away with, you know, a strategy, or walk away with an idea of something you can implement. And with each of those videos, there's a list of resources below. So we always want to make sure people have an opportunity to explore more on that topic if they're interested. There is also a great tool called the Transition to Adulthood Guidelines, and it's got several different pieces to it, but one of the ones I always like to share is the transition planning and the IEP. This resource was designed, you know, for all audiences, so for professionals and families, really just to help make sure that there's a very strong understanding of what that transition planning looks like and the IEP, so that everyone in the team, which includes the families, individual, you know, their school team, you know, has a good understanding, and it's really reflective of, you know, person-centered focus. And so another wonderful tool to check out, and it's one that's designed, again, so you've got pieces that you can work through, and different I think the website itself is very easy to look at, and it's got different diagrams. And so again, it's really designed to be a helpful guide for anyone that's looking for information related to that. And the final resource is there's a video series called The Journey. This is something that actually launched recently. It is actually through one of our partners, Employment First, but OCALI has been helping kind of lead this project. They have, I think they're now at 5 videos, but again, it's a series that's focusing on just some of those things related to transition, to help support transition. And I know I have to look at my notes here real quick because they keep adding more. You know, some of the topics they've had is supporting positive behavior, self-determination. What does that transition assessment look like? Assistive technology. So again, it's video-based, so you have an opportunity to hear from experts and guiding you through some of these resources. And it's a resource that you can get to from OCALI's website, but again, it's actually on the Employment First website. But it's been a great opportunity for us to partner with them to be able to share these resources. I check my time. Okay, good. And so, as I mentioned again at the beginning, I started with OCALI in 2014 or so, 13, 14, to help support the launch of this resource, Asd Strategies in Action. We launched it in 2015, and this was a wonderful, I keep saying wonderful because this resource really is has been, I think, a very helpful tool for families, especially for those that are just getting started, or, you know, maybe they're in a different stage of life and they need to know about different resources that are available. But it's an online video-based tool. So a lot of our resources, such as the Autism Internet module and Assistive Technology Internet module, are more text-based. So you have a lot of reading to do. There may be some visuals in there as well. Well, this was designed to really be all video-based. So that way, when you are going in there, you can actually see a strategy in action. And so that you can see strategies in different environments. So you can see things in homes, you can see strategies happening in schools, you can see strategies happening on a work site. So it's just being able to provide you with these you know, real life experiences. And so that they just seem to make a little bit more sense in being able to apply them to your situation. So the Asd Strategies in Action, it's 4 courses. The first course is an introductory course, and it's one that I always recommend people just check that one out. And if you get as far as that, that's wonderful. It's also a great resource to share with others. So if you've got family members who maybe want to learn a little bit more about the characteristics of autism or learn about simple strategies, this is a great place for them to start. It includes 5 different simple strategies that you're able to walk away with and be able to apply. After completing the introductory course, you get to move into 3 age-based courses. So again, it just depends on where you are in those stages. You can go through all 3, or you can start where you are. So we have a toddler preschool series, and we have a school age series, and we have a transition age series. And within each of those series, you will walk through different modules that address different strategies, again, in different environments. So you're seeing students at school, you're seeing a young man at his job site. You're seeing a preschooler while they're interacting in their childcare. So again, that variety, so that you're able to see these real life experiences in situations that you can easily apply. And this resource is free. I mean, everything is free. You do have to start with the introductory course before you can move into the age-based courses, and then they do follow a certain sequence once you get in there. But it's a self-paced tool, so which is really great, because if you only have a few minutes to look into one of the modules, you can look at that. And again, this idea, you can walk away with a strategy. I know we've had some feedback from teachers who have, like, they spend 10 minutes each evening in going through it, and they feel like they're able to go into the classroom the next day and they can try something. So definitely, when you have a moment, go to autismcertificationcenter.org. There's a lot of resources on that website, including a video gallery, so you can actually check out some of the video before actually getting started. And there's a lot of resources for families too, to be able to take with you to an IEP meeting, or to take with you to share with a family member, or maybe share with a doctor. So we want to make sure families felt really supported with this resource. And then this is, so, but just about a year ago, actually, I think we were all shifting to remote learning. We were all shifting to stay at home. We were kind of in this moment of, okay, what do we need to, what can we offer? How can we help families while they're going through this, COVID, and, being at home, remote learning, all of this kind of stuff. And so our team came together with this idea of here to help. We are here to help. And we, between the beginning of March through May, we prepared a couple different resources around this area. First, we started with pulling together resources that were being shared across the state, across the nation, and put together two web pages, one for professionals and educators, and one for families and caregivers, to direct them to different resources that could support them right now during COVID. And a lot of these resources already existed on how to have an accessible Zoom meeting, how to, what are some self-care tips. And then of course there were new ones on what is COVID, and how, social narratives to help explain it to your child, or social narratives to explain it to your young adult. And so we were able to pull together a couple web pages with just, a bunch of resources that we had, pulled together. But in addition to that, we also launched a video series on Facebook. We called it 4 Minutes at 4. So every day at 4 o'clock, there was a 4-minute video sharing a resource or sharing a strategy to help support just what was going on at that time. Strategies from, again, accessibility, how to make things more accessible for your child who maybe uses Braille, or for your child who needs closed captioning. Just resources related to helping to have, setting up routines, to have calming spots, to help with self-regulation. We also had resources about just how to have fun. Here are some fun things you can do with your, your family or your young child while you are at home. So a variety of things that aired from beginning of April through the end of May. And we took all of those videos and we actually put them on a video gallery on our website. And so a lot of these resources still apply today. And again, those quick videos that you can go and check out. And it's really easy. We wanted to make sure these were easily digestible kind of resources, especially in that time where things were so crazy. You probably just couldn't have one more thing on your mind. So, but I always like to share this one because they're still really great and relevant resources to help support things. Even self-care tips. I mean, those are always going to be there no matter what we're going through. So again, it's on OCALI's website. You can get to our video gallery and be able to view all of these videos from last spring. And then summer came and we were starting to think about, okay, what do we need to prepare for to help, with what is the next school year going to look like? And how can we support, again, teachers and families and professionals as they're moving back into a different learning experience, whether that was a hybrid or that was full day school or still virtual. So we launched, again, another video series. It is they're 30-minute webinars, again, addressing different topics to help support this unique time of learning. So there's topics related to creating a learning environment at home. Again, a lot of topics on self-care, and there's some on trauma and just being able to support individuals during that time. We are also looking at just different resources to, again, support that remote learning, whether that's resources, again, for professionals or for families. It was designed, again, as a way to just really help support what's going on right now. And these, starting in September, we aired one every Thursday. Again, we've archived all these, and thank you, Anne, for putting all the links in the chat. We've archived all the ones that have appeared since Thursday, or I'm sorry, since September. And so you can always go back and look at these. It's, again, it's a free resource. We are still going to continue to add to the collection. We were offering them every Thursday, but we are now going to go to, I think as we're getting close to the school year ending, we're spreading them out a little bit more. But again, there's a ton of resources already out there, a ton of videos already out there that you can check out. The Family Center was able to participate, and we contributed 3 webinars to the series. Again, there's one on creating an accessible learning environment at home. We also did one with the multicultural team from the Ohio Coalition for the Education of Children with Disabilities to kind of look at our global community. And then the third one, again, to share some simple strategies, focusing on using our ASD strategies in action. So it was a great opportunity to partner with some of my other colleagues to be able to prepare those resources. And we're just about time. So here we are. Just like Anne shared, we have many ways for you to connect with OCALI. You can visit our website, again, ocali.org. And that's probably the best place to start. And you can go through and look at each of the different centers and see what they have to offer. We have information about our conference that's coming up. All of our online courses are there too, and they're easy to register for. And we do have a monthly newsletter, and you can sign up for that newsletter on our website. And so you can have information delivered to your inbox once a month, some of the latest things going on at OCALI or things that are going on with our partners that we want to make sure people are aware of. And then we are also on all social media. So Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. All right. So I guess questions, we have a few minutes, so maybe 2 minutes for questions.
Yeah, and feel free to unmute and ask them, or put them in the chat and we will address those. I did look at the Linowit board and the things that you posted in there, and wanted to address, so someone had asked about Respite Resources, and that's not something that RAAC or OCALI directly provides. However, I do have a resource list. It's not currently posted on the RAAC website. Respite Resources are a moving target. So it's one that I always hesitate to put in any kind of static place. But if you want to email me, I'd be glad to share my Respite resource list that I have with you. So feel free to reach out for that, and I will email that to you. Couple of the other ones, I think the independent living skills, what Jen had shared in that transition section, there's tons of good stuff from OCALI.
Yeah, the Take 5 videos would be a great place to start.
Yeah, for sure. And then the behavior therapy for low IQ and developmentally disabled teen, that link that I shared, the resources link on the RAAC website, there's a number of providers who would absolutely work with somebody who has cognitive delays. So I try to kind of define on the, you'll see when you click on there, define who their target population is. And there are a few that kind of specialize in those who are twice exceptional. And so they may not necessarily be the right resource, but there are others who would be the right resource that are on that list. And then safety before an incident, I saw that one on there. And I would say that is a big topic that I have lots of, it's a soapbox that I probably can't address in the last 30 seconds. But please reach out and join our safety initiative, whether that's just to, kind of see what we're talking about, or to ask a specific question. I would be more than happy to share around that. I'm not seeing other chat questions, but I'm happy to stick around for other questions that you all may have.
Mm-hmm.
While we wait for some questions, I'm going to turn off the recording in case there's some specific questions that others may have. But just want to thank those who did come, and thank you, Anne and Jen, for this presentation. I can't say enough about check out their website, check out these links. They have so much information in there. as they were presenting, you know, all these videos, all these the flyers, and all, just tons of information. And all you can do is start and get yourself familiar with these websites, with each of these groups. That's what I would suggest, because as a parent myself, it is a lot of information. Just take a few minutes each night to check out their website. So let me go ahead and turn off the recording 1 second.